Welcome to Prep Rally Live. He's Rick Fires. I'm Graham Thomas. We're from the Northwest Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, and we are going to talk to you about 3 games this Friday night in particular. Rick, it's week 2 of the high school football season, which really means it's our 3rd week of coverage since there's a week 0.
Week 0, yeah.
Yep, it gets confusing for folks, I know, but we call it week 2. Yeah. So let's go ahead and get it started, Rick. We are going to first talk about the Franklin County feud, Charleston at Ozark.
Or as Leland Barkley called it, and I don't mind stealing a good line, the bounce back bowl. Both these teams lost. Charleston lost to just a really good Elkins team, and Ozark lost to Boonville. So both these teams are not used to losing, so they're going to come back. I know they're both going hard at practice. That's traditionally just a great game, but man, in this game, I think Ozark, they scored a lot of points, gave up a lot of points, so I think I'm going to go with Charleston. No. Let me back up. I'm going to go with Ozark over Charleston this game.
Going with the homestanding Hillbillies.
The homestanding Thrillbillies.
You know, I've thought about this one, and, you know, Charleston, they had a rough time with Elkins last week, and there are a lot of teams that are going to have a rough time with Elkins.
Absolutely.
I'm going to go with Charleston here, Rick. Coach Ricky down there at Ricky May with Charleston, he's going to have those guys ready. This is a rivalry game. Ozark is one classification bigger than Charleston, but I tell you what, I'm going to go with the Charleston Tigers to come home with the Franklin County feud victory on Friday night.
It wouldn't surprise me. They got a lot of pride in that program. They don't stay down for too long.
Now let's talk about maybe another bounce back game.
Okay.
And really only a bounce back for one of these teams. We're going to talk about Fort Smith Northside at Fayetteville on Friday night over at Harmon Field. You and I were at the first Fayetteville game 2 weeks ago when Fayetteville blew out Cabot. Now this will be a little bit different of a challenge this week.
Now, Northside is 0-2. I mean, I'm just kind of a little in disbelief about that because they do have some great athletes, but they hadn't been able to put it together. Fayetteville is 2-0. They went down there and spanked North Little Rock. An interesting thing about me in that game is P.J. Fleck from Minnesota down there. He's on the sidelines watching Drake Lindsey, who threw for 4 more touchdowns. That shows you how much they want him. When they come all the way down, I think they played Nebraska, and for him to get on a plane and come down there and watch, probably like his #1 recruit. So, but Fayetteville's back at home. Fort Smith Northside, they're 0-2, but I covered that game 2-3 years ago when Northside come up here, kind of surprised Fayetteville. They beat them on a last-second field goal. It was like 55-53. I definitely remember that game. Don't remember what year it was. That is 2 very athletic teams, 2 really good programs. But, man, I don't think Northside's going to have enough against Fayetteville this year. So, Rick's pick, Fayetteville over Northside.
You know, Northside I thought would be a lot more competitive with Greenwood. You know, only did we find out
they had some injuries.
Well, they had a lot of key players, 2 starting offensive linemen, and the quarterback did not play because he was sick. So I think Northside will bounce back a little bit, but not enough of a bounce back to be able to beat Fayetteville at Harmon Field. So I'm also going to take Fayetteville in that one.
Okay.
Our 3rd and final game, it's going to be our game of the week, is Rogers High at Farmington. You know, Rogers is coming in 2-0. Farmington's 1-1. They beat Greenbrier in week 1, and then they lost a tough one to Springdale High. Farmington will be at home, and you know Farmington's got a lot of good athletes. Rogers is coming in 2-0. They've had 2 blowout wins against Little Rock Southwest, and last week Rogers beat Tulsa Bishop Kelly. They've got a good offensive football team, and they've played pretty good defense so far. Rogers can throw it with Dane Williams at quarterback. They can run it with Jacob Jenkins and Isaac Chapman, the Mountie. He looks like a Mountie, right?
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Rick,
he looks like Strike, the mascot over with the Naturals too.
My pick on that, I'm going to go with the Mounties to keep on rolling, improve to 3-0 heading into their bye week and before we start conference play. But I just think Rogers will be too strong for Farmington.
You know, it's kind of a shame. We built it. This game should be one of the better non-conference games, but I guess Cameron Van Zant got hurt. He's a senior. I covered this game last year at Rogers when Farmington was playing them really, really tough, and Cameron got hurt in that game. But he came back later in the year. So as we understand it, that he's been hurt again. Just a great kid from a great family. I love that, and it just sickens me that, especially your senior year, you have to go out with an injury. I don't know the status. Maybe he'll come back. This should have been one of the better non-conference games for this week, but I don't think it will. Rogers Mounties just impressed. They're coming off consecutive 9-win season. They spanked Bishop Kelly private school out of Tulsa. Anytime you play one of them Tulsa schools, they're going to be pretty good. 35-7. Man, so I'm going to go with the Mounties. I don't think it's, and J.R. Eldridge over there, maybe he'd come up with something, but just here on paper, what I'm looking at right here, to me it said that Roger wins a couple touchdowns.
Well, you're right about that. Just as soon as you start underestimating someone, we both went Bentonville last week against Conway, and sure enough, we both took the loss on that one. So I would, the Farmington's got a lot of good athletes, and it wouldn't at all surprise me if they figure out something to come up with a game plan, and I know they will. But
Rogers is tough though. They're really good. It's not like the old days when they'd win 2 or 3 coming off 9-win season. They're rolling, and then they're going to have a start conference play against Southside. So we're really looking forward to the Mounties this year.
All right. Well, that'll do it for this week's Prep Rally Live. He's Rick Fires, and I'm Graham Thomas. And go out and watch your football game this week.